My name is Pat. I'm 97 years old and I live in Folkestone. I describe myself as a rather quiet type of person, and I'll do anything for peace sake. I think I'm a bit generous. I like to be generous and people are generous with me. During the war, when I was 14 years old, I was evacuated to Sutton Valence near Maidstone, and I was there for 4 years and then came back again and have lived here ever since. I never knew my grandfather because he died before I was born. My mother lived in the West End of Folkestone. The house went with a job, so when he died suddenly they had to get out in a hurry and they were moved to a house called a Monkey Puzzle House in Allendale Street. There's like two houses, one is all at the front and one is all at the back. You go along a passage and there's a room, and we called it a scullery then. And then you've got stairs and the bedrooms are all at the back, and the next house they're all at the front. You go straight into the living room and the bedrooms are all at the front. And they're called Monkey Puzzles. And there was my mother, her mother, my two brothers and my mother's sister. And we all lived in this house, and that's where I was born. I had a nice life because my grandmother lived there, and it was the old type of grandmother that wore long black clothes and a big long penny, and she was always there to help. And in the winter when I came from school, she'd be there with it all warmed by the fire and I would snuggle into it. My mother, she tried to make a living sewing. She was a good seamstress. My dad, he did all different kinds of jobs. He worked with a horse and cart, greengrocery at first. The boys always came first, but then it was different in those days. Girls were treated differently. When I was 13, the war broke out, and it was a bad time. We were very scared at the time because it had been brewing for some time. And I remember the day when Neville Chamberlain said they were waiting to hear from Adolf Hitler, and they hadn't heard anything, so I assumed we were at war. And soon after that, the sirens went, and my brother's girlfriend was there, and she hadn't got a gas mask, and I thought they were coming over and she'd be gassed. But that wasn't, I think it must have been just a trial, because soon after it was okay. There were a lot of air raids, and my oldest brother was in the Merchant Navy, and my other brother was waiting to be called up. So, and he was afraid for us, for my mother and me, and my grandmother. So he got us a place where my grandmother had relations in Sutton Valence near Maidstone, and we managed to get a place there. And my father used to come up every weekend with my brother until my brother went into the army. But it was very bad in Folkestone, and I know one time my dad went back home on a Sunday evening, ready to go to work the next day, and the front door was up the stairs. The bombs had blown the front door up there, had blown the windows in, and the glass was all shattered on his bed, and he just sloshed it off and got into bed and went off to work the next day. Didn't go to school anymore, and you could get a job then when you were 13 or 14, and I got a job in a little grocer's shop just a few yards from where we were living, and I earned £1 a week, and my mother needed 17 shillings of it, the old money, and I paid sixpence for my stamp and a shilling so I could buy my clothes and pay weekly, and the rest was enough to have fish and chips and go to the cinema. That is where I met my husband. But then we got married, and he was sent abroad for 2 years. I was only 16, and my mother was afraid I would get pregnant and bring shame upon the family, so that's why she let me get married. Near to there was a place called Broome Park, and loads of soldiers were there. They would stand outside singing in their lovely Welsh voices. Yeah, it was lovely, and we'd go in the summer, go for nice long walks all together. But I did fall in love with a soldier. He used to come to the house, and we did everything together. And I just thought, young then, well, I'm married, but I can get out of it. But I couldn't. And then one day we woke up and it was all quiet, nothing going on. We realised that all the soldiers had gone. That's when they all went across to France. So I never saw or heard of any of them ever again. He wasn't allowed to say that he was going the next day off to Normandy. So I didn't have a chance to say goodbye. It was very bad for me. I was 18 in the May, and it was in the January we were all brought back to Folkestone. Came back and carried on with life in Folkestone like before the war. My mother helped me all my life, and I had to go out to work. I worked as a waitress, and we had good tips, and she would look after the children, and we'd share the tips, and they used to give me the food to bring home, like if there was a big pie left, and I'd walk through the streets with that. And my husband was divorced, and we lived with my mother for a while, but he was an Irishman, liked to drink. We never got on, we were always quarrelling, always. But I ended up having lots of children, which I love and adore, and so grateful that I've got them now. So I've got him to thank for them. And it wasn't easy to get a divorce in those days, especially if you were poor and hadn't got any money. We were parted. I was trying to get away from him, and he took Nicholas and scarpered off to Ireland with him. He blackmailed me, didn't he? If you don't write me a letter so you can take me back, I won't come back. So that was that. We were together, but It wasn't a very good marriage. Well, I had 3 lovely boys together, and then went 8 years. I don't know. I know. I asked the doctor why, and he says you had a tilted ovary. He said leave it, and you won't get pregnant. But then I did, and he said it must have righted itself. So I had another one. I had Karen. I had Teresa 2 years later. I had a friend, and I found I got pregnant, which wasn't my husband's. But I don't know, he never seemed to know. He loved Teresa. I didn't want to be with him, but he did, so I had to wait until Teresa was 13. It's a lot of years, but I went to work all the time, and then when I had the chance to get away, I did. The children started growing up, and I met somebody else. And in the end I had a divorce and married Alan in the end, and that lasted 38 years until he died 2 years ago. I never thought I'd be able to live alone, but it came just natural. And I'm moved here, I'm so happy, and so is my family, that I'm in a nice safe place here. We can have parties, we can do as we like, as long as we say what we're going to do and nobody else has booked it. We can do it exactly as we like. It's so lovely. We often have bacon sandwich mornings, or sausages, or donut mornings, and we do little quizzes between. We have a bit of music. Teresa said, you should write a book, and I said, well, I didn't think I'd be able to, but I would have liked to write my memoirs so that my children know what went on in my life, because I didn't know anything about my parents' lives. And that's what made me do it. And I'm so pleased I did, and it went so well. And I have another son who's a Jehovah's Witness, and he said I must have had a reason for going off with somebody else and having a baby. And nobody at all has judged me. They all said it's a good book, lovely book for reading, and they're all happy.
Thanks to Victoria at the back that this book got published. That's it then. Thanks all for coming.
Well done, Mummy.
Yes, well done.
I hope to write another book, and I want to write it like a novel of all my family. I've learnt, don't be too good, otherwise you get trampled on. But I mean, I always like to be kind and that to people, and it's like you've got to take whatever's going, you've got to take it on the chin and do your best and get on with life and just get on with it. The world has changed. It's changed a lot. We were poor years ago, but I'm glad I was born then, and I'm glad I had those days and those years. I really have no regrets. I'm glad I went through the war years, and I've had a good life. I've really had a good life. And in my last years here now, I'm having a wonderful life. I really am really happy. My 18-year-old self would look at me now at 97 and say, good on you, you're good. I still feel the same today, except that I can't move about so fast, but my mind is still the same as then. And my children, though they're older, they're still my babies. I hope that I just keep well and don't be a burden to anybody, and I can carry on like I am now, going out with them and enjoying myself. Like we go to shows or we go out to the restaurants. It's so nice, and I'm still able to do that because they all take me. Claire is a very good friend of mine, and she's made me a lovely little garden just outside of my window. I can just open and have a look. I'm enjoying my life, yeah. My children all help me, they do anything that I want, and all they want is the best for me. I'm so lucky. I get up each morning and I just think, oh, there's another day for me. And I feel like that every morning, and I don't feel any different. I think I'm going to get up and I'm going to enjoy my life, and I do.